heading. The Yeoman Warder was sent to London Bridge to get the head back. It was rushed back inside the fortress and immediately sewn back onto the body by the Tower surgeon. Sadly, he was too late. There was then a delay of nearly 2 days before James Scott was finally buried in our chapel. Academics and art historians argue over this point. Some suggest it was to allow James Scott to have his portrait painted. Portraits here in London at the National Portrait Gallery, you can go and see it. Admission's free. You'll notice he's wearing a very large collar. This is unusual on a mounted soldier. His face also has a peculiar detached expression. Now, the gallery staff rightly tell me that I am not allowed to tell you that it was hard evidence that it was painted post-mortem. Well, you should go there and judge for yourselves. Now, speaking of beheadings, let's be heading off. Yeah, we're off down Water Lane now to Traitor's Gate and the Bloody Tower, where we're going to cheer ourselves up. In the 16th century, there was something of a human traffic, largely one way. Many of these people were prisoners, and the watermen slid the name to Traitor's Gate. They had some fairly famous traitors. Mel Gibson. But he should have come through here and been given a hefty slap. Ever since the fabulously accurate film Braveheart, not a day goes by without some demented Scots. I'm not saying they're all demented. Just the ones I mean. Where did you keep all your boys? You'll know what I mean when you see it. But I consider it a duty to tell you that that codpiece is an early foray into psychological warfare. I have already established you're vulnerable. Don't get a complex. Don't expect too much when you grow up. Now, seriously, children, this is a very important point. Lower your expectations. I know your parents tell you that life's marvellous and you're going to be a doctor or an astronaut. You're not. Life is a string of bitter disappointments, one after the other. Sometimes two at a time. You have to. Lower your expectation, because the lower your expectation, the higher your satisfaction will be. Right? I had great expectations when I was your age. Over here in the corner, we have the Bloody Tower. Go there. Learn more about who may have killed those two poor people. Learn also about Sir Walter Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh was one of Britain's greatest adventurers. Fine navigator. He was a prisoner there, though, for 13 years, and he was tortured every day. They locked his wife in there with him. Don't need a machine to break a man. You'll learn that one day too. Over here in the corner we have the Queen's Hat. This was built as a wedding present for Anne Boleyn. The work commenced on this in 1533, the year of the wedding. Completed in 1541, 5 years after her execution. Home of the Governor of the Tower of London now. Being guarded today by soldiers, and I do mean soldiers, of the Grenadier Guards. They're in their famous bearskin helmets and red tunics. They look like toys. But the toys are modelled on them, it's not the other way around. This is a ceremonial uniform. Be advised that some of these young men have recently returned from combat operations in Afghanistan, and some of them are shortly to go back there. The weapon you see is live. It is the standard British Army rifle. Do not upset the soldiers! Got it? Good. They do deserve your respect. This is Tower Green. It's colour-coded. It's the grass. A lot of people spend half the day looking for a green tower. We don't have one. These people are European. Europeans have syntax problems and talk like Yoda. We don't have a green tower, but we do have the Beecham Tower. Behind that arch window, you'll find a change. The walls are covered with graffiti. Graffiti that is nearly 500 years old. You may see the ghosts in the window. Disembodied heads. Wave to them. They don't wave back because they're stuck in another time. They're restless spirits. You can go up there later. As you look out of that window to the lower right, you will see an inscription. I think it's number 85. It simply says Jane. This was carved there by Guildford Dudley. He carved it because his wife's name was Lady Jane Grey. He carved it as he watched them build her execution scaffold just there. Lady Jane Grey had been placed on the throne of England to deny the Catholic and true Hail Mary claim that throne. The army and the public sided with Mary. Get the crown back in just 9 days. We now had a Catholic queen after a generation of Protestant rule, and everything got turned on its head. You know this. You were taught this in the cradle, weren't you? Mary, Mary, quite contrary. It's all about her. Everything's been turned round, contrary-wise. How did your garden grow? She was a keen gardener. How did her garden grow? With silver bells. The Saxon bells brought back and rung at the Catholic Mass. And cockle shells, trophies of wood. Finally, we had the pretty maids all in a row. The nuns back in the box pews at Westminster. That is interesting. And it clashes so well with her nickname. Bloody Mary! She was quick to win it. In 1 week, John Dudley's head had rolled down Tower Hill. The bishops that had spoken against Mary had their tongues torn out. These men were not beheaded. They were taken to Oxford